Good afternoon. Going to talk about measures of center today, and hopefully these are things that you're familiar with, measures of center, particularly the mean, the median, and the mode. And we're talking about measures of center. We're talking about, basically kind of talks about the average, talks about what's typical, might be a word that you would see. What's a typical thing? What's the typical ninth grader look like? We might use mean, median, and mode to describe them. So mean, the other word for the mean, is the average. And the way that you come up with an average is you take the total and you divide by the number of, I guess we'll call it data points, number of data pieces. That's weird. So take the total that we have, divide by the number of data pieces, and we'll end up with the average, or the mean, which will make that look nicer. Okay. The median is the middle number. The middle number and the key with the median is that the data has to be put in order. So you need to put the data in order. I'm thinking here as I'm writing. Data needs to be in order, so that's the median is the middle number. The mode is the most common number. It's the easiest one to find and might well be the one that's not as useful to us as the other measures of center, but sometimes it is the most common number. So that's just a matter of counting and seeing which one's the most common. You could have a couple of modes. You could have a couple of things that are most common. So moving onward, let's do something with it and kind of work our way from there. So I've just come up with over the years a couple of like little graphics that might help you remember what the mean is. So for the mean, you add up all the pieces that you have and you divide by how many there are. So that's why I've got mean spelled out there, and meaning the number of pieces that there are. You might write these down just as a little like way to perhaps jog your memory. Median, we arrange the things from smallest to biggest, and it's the piece right in the middle. And in this case, right in the middle is between the D and the I, because there's an even number of pieces. And then I've just got mode, and I've got a lot of D's, so that in this case D would be the mode. So it's the most common number. It might be worth pausing, writing those down just as a way to remember which one it is. There's plenty of space on your page to get there. Okay. So outliers. An outlier, as we remember from our data display, is a value that's far away from the rest of the data, and they do impact our measures of center. We wonder how they impact the mean, the median, and the mode. Okay, so let's do some quick calculations and see what's going on. And the outlier clearly in this case is, let's pretend I asked some people how much money they had in their pocket. And these are the results I got. I got a couple people with $5, I think it's 3 people with $5, 2 people with $10. Somebody for some reason had $50 in their pocket. So this one is definitely going to be an outlier given the rest of the data that they have. So with the outlier in, let's get the mean first. So we add up our numbers: 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 10 plus 10. I can do this. Plus 50. And there's 6 pieces of data. And so 15, 25, 35, 85. So I end up with 85 divided by 6, which is, I'll just do it over here in the corner. Remember, long division goes in there 1 time, and then 6, 25. So that goes 4 times. 4 times 6 is 24. And then it's going to leave me with 1/6, 14 and a sixth. So my average is 14 and 1/6 dollars. So it's what, 16 cents or something like that. Okay. My median, handily enough, the numbers are lined up in nice order for us. So the median turns out to be halfway through. There's 3 on each side. And since it's between the two numbers, we just take the average of those two numbers. So my median is halfway between $5 and $10, which is $7.50. Okay, and the mode in this case is $5. Okay, So, because the most common, there's three $5. So that's with the outlier in there. If I just ignore the outlier just to say, okay, well, what happens if I'd only asked these first 5 guys, or what if somebody only had the $10? What happens to those things? And we want to see which one is most greatly impacted. So where I used to just have 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 10 plus 50, I now just I'm going to use 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 10 plus 10. So that's 15, 25, 35. I'm going to divide that now by 5 pieces of data, and I end up with a mean of $7. Okay, and this is 14 and the sixth dollar. If I look at the median, I'm just gonna, let's see if I can just blot this out. I hate to cross it out, but I should try to figure out a way to cover it up. I know I can do it. I get myself a little shape. Oh, a little star works pretty well. Where's the star? There we go. Alright, so pretend that's not there anymore. Go back to full screen. I like that mode a little better. So my median now is 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's only 5 pieces of data. So my median of the 5 pieces of data is right here in the middle, $5. So it was impacted a little bit. And then the mode still is $5. Okay. So my mean, pretty drastically, it cut that outlier, more than doubled the amount. So, you know, the mean was definitely impacted by that. Here we just shifted over. We shifted over a little bit, so by $2.50, not that bad difference in the medians, and the mode not impacted at all in this case. And if you look at this one, you know, I'm saying that the average person that I interviewed had $14 on them, and gosh, only one person had more than $14 on them. So this $50 guy definitely impacted them. Okay, so outliers have a great impact on the mean. Okay, there's a great impact. There's very little impact on the median. Might shift it one way or another, and there's typically, essentially, probably I could go so far as to say there's no impact on the mode. Okay, the mode is just counting. An outlier is going to be out on the edge. Okay, so there's that piece. So if you here's a typical mean sort of problem. You score 85, 78, and 92 on your first 3 global English papers. What grade do you need to get on the 4th paper to end with an average score of 86? Okay, so remember the mean is the total divided by how many things we're looking at. In this case, we're talking about 4 papers. Okay, so we want the total number of points divided by 4 to equal 86. Okay, so let's figure out the total number of points we need. The total is going to be 4 times 86, which is 320 plus 24, which is 344 points. Okay, 344 points. How many points do we have so far? We have, well, let's see, we have 85, and 78, and 92. So that's a total of 10, 15, 10, and 15, 25. So we have 255 points. So we need 344 points. We have 255 points. Slow down a little. What do we have to get on that last test? 14 minus 5 is 9. This is now 13, I guess. So 13 minus 5 is 8. There's nothing left there. So we need to get an 89 on that last test in order to make it all work out. Okay, so being able to solve this problem needs to understand what the mean is. It's the total divided by how many points how many things you have. We're going to end up with 4 tests, so we were going to take our total, divide by 4, hope for that 86 average. Okay, so that's a typical sort of problem we're going to deal with here in our math class. Another question for you. If your grade's in earth science, if you've got all of these grades in earth science, would you prefer to have a mean grade or a median grade on your report card? So do you want the teacher to report on the mean, or do you want your teacher to report on the median? I think I'm going to leave that for you and let you think about that as a last problem. You know how to calculate the mean, the total divided by, in this case, 7. Okay, and the median, you're just going to put them in order and figure out which one's the middle. And so for this particular person, are they going to be more happy with their mean or the median as the one that's reported on the report card? Take some time, work through that. We'll talk about that one tomorrow in class. And I think that's about all we have. So we've got the mean, the median, and the mode. Average, middle number, most popular number. Impacted by outliers, a little bit impacted by outliers, not much generally, and generally not at all impacted by outliers as we go through. Okay, those are the measures of center. They talk about what's typical. You'll see those a lot in reports that you, when you watch the news, read the paper, read a magazine, look online. They'll typically report mean and median information. So, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. We'll do this over again because it only recorded for a second.